Hey, what's going on, guys? Vampire Ninja 100 here, and welcome to a very special introduction to War of Universes, but this is going to be part 4 still. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at something very special. So remember how I said that there are 3 types of attacks, where you have red being the physical, blue being projectile, and purple being the mental? Well, guess what? I had some thought, and so I decided let's add some more. So as you can see, we got the physical, the projectile, and the mental. Capital R, capital B, capital P. And let's actually take a look at some more. Now right here, you can see side switch is orange. So put a capital R next to this attack. Now let me go ahead and show you exactly how this attack will happen. So for any of these special effect attacks to happen, you have to successfully inflict damage to your opponent for every single special effect attack, okay? So for side switch, if you are successful in the attack, you take your opponent's character and put onto your side. Until that character is defeated, they go back to their owner, but in the discard pile. But then you continue with the character in which you've done this effect on. Not on, do the effect with, I'm sorry. Word. Alright. Next is shield activation. Put a capital LB for light blue, so that we can actually see what type of attack we can know, which is shield activation. Now, shield activation is actually pretty simple, because it actually activates a character shield. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So if you're going to be playing a normal game and you do an attack successfully with the shield activation, you pretty much gain a certain percentage of shields. If that character starts out with no shields and it has a shield activation attack, you're going to be pretty lucky if that attack is successful. Because if so, you would gain at least 25% shields. Now, if you want to know exactly how the limit is to your shields, well, if you're playing a normal game, you can go as much with your shield percentage as you want. But in a pro version of the game, you can only do the same amount of shields that matches the percent of your health for that character before you started playing that character. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the next one, which is summon. Summon is the yellow, so put a capital Y next to a summon attack, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about this attack. Now, it has to be successful and able for it to activate. So say you have a character that can, like, for example, summon the dead or something like that. It can be anything, pretty much. So it has to be successful, though, because if not, then you're gonna have to wait until you do that effect again and able to actually activate it. That goes for all of these special attacks. Okay, so for the summon, you pretty much bring out any character that attack calls for. Say, like, let's talk about Ant-Man for a second. Now, I've actually put a summon attack on Ant-Man to where, if that attack is successful, he brings 25% health Ant Swarm. So if that happens again, we add another 25% to it. Pretty much same thing with the shield activation. You add 25%, 25%, 25%, and until like endless. But of course, just like with the shield activation, for the pro version, it's limited. It has to be the same HP in which the original character that does the summon. You have to match with the original HP of that character with the percentage of health for the summon in the pro version. because you can't go any further than that amount of health. Okay. Next, let's take a look at poison, which is capital LG for light green. Now, poison is actually very, very important. It's really something you have to pay attention to. Because if you're hit with an attack successfully that does poison, then you're definitely going to be in trouble. Okay, so the way you do poison is actually simple. Once you successfully hit your opponent with a poison attack, their health will decrease plus whatever number you rolled that your poison attack is pretty much on. Say for example you rolled a 3 and you successfully hit your opponent, but still it's a poison attack. You pay attention to the number in which the poison attack is on, you add that amount of damage, next time you do another type of hit. It can be any type of these hits and you can still do a poison effect. Because once you get that poison hit, it's not going to change. Because poison keeps going until the prey is down. Now if you do another poison attack, you double the dosage pretty much. So back again to where, say, poison was number 3, you double that to where it makes it 6. Now I'm not saying poison attack has to be on a number 3. It can be on any number you want your character to have poison. Right. So for limitations in the pro version, all I had to say is if you do successfully get a poison attack on your opponent, their health would decrease just by an extra damage. Just 1 extra damage. But if you do poison again, then you pretty much double that amount. And you can pretty much keep upping the dosage every time you do a poison attack successfully. Alright, next, let's take a look at double strength. Now, double strength is actually pretty handy for a lot of characters that do some, like are super strong. So whenever you roll a double strength, and you successfully make a hit with just rolling a number, what you do is you pay attention to the number in which this attack is, which is tan. I don't know if you can tell. So put a capital T next to a double strength attack, okay? Okay. So if you roll successfully a double strength, what you do is you take a look at the number in which you've rolled and able to do the double strength attack. You add that number of extra damage to your opponent's health. Now, of course, double strength can pretty much be any type of attack. Say like, okay, let's say it was a kick, it was a shot, it was a projectile of any type, that's okay. Now, it doesn't mean that's pretty much going to be a red and a tan, or a blue and a tan, or purple and a tan. What's going to be, it's just going to be a tan, okay? So, no mixture of colors at all, okay? It's not going to be allowed. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the next color, and that is Necro Return. What is Necro Return? Well, it's kind of something I thought of, and I wasn't sure if it was an actual thing. So, I wanted to kind of be the first person to do that. So, Necro Return, it kind of gives off a hint of necromancy, in a way. Now, you probably think, okay, does it have to do something about undead? Well, yes, because Necro Return actually brings back any defeated from either your discarded pile or your opponent's discarded pile. There's just a little bit of a problem, though. You have to decrease the die number by at least 2 points. So say, for example, you have a 6-died character, and one of you, either you or your opponent, rolls a black attack, which is a Necro return pretty much takes that character onto the activation field on top of that character that did the Necro return attack, but still has to be successful, okay? Has to be successful. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and use this attack, what you do is you put a capitalized B and a capitalized L. Okay, so whenever you put down your 6 died character, it automatically is made into a 4 died character because of the Necro returns effect, because it's pretty much zombified. Now, if there are a series of attacks in which you can think of for any type of character that, say for example, you did that and that character is now a 4-sided die character. Their health is completely regenerated, but there's no shields at all. Okay? So it's just going to be normal HP. Because pretty much Necro turns the character almost as if they're a zombie. Okay. So let's say you have 4 different attacks. You have, say, like a punch for 1, you have scratch for 2, you have bite for 3, and then you have pretty much headbutt. I don't know. But 2 of those attacks is actually very important, and we'll talk about that whenever we get to the effect of infect. Okay. So remember, Necro Return pretty much turns any character you pick from the discard pile into a zombie. Just -2 points from the die number, and then you get that die to be for that character. And what you do is you pretty much write down whatever type of attack you want, but remember there has to be attacks that do infect, okay? So next, let's take a look at Resurrection. Resurrection attack, remember it has to be successful, is a white attack, so put a capitalized W, the W, next to the name of the attack, and able to do this. Okay, so your attack's successful. What do? You look at your discard pile. Now this is pretty much like a Necro Return, but say like it's more of the holy version than the unholy version. Alright, so Resurrection brings back a character. Now I'm not sure if I spelled Resurrection right at all, but if I didn't, then I'm sorry. Okay, so you bring back that character as if they haven't been discarded throughout this whole game, but still, you make sure that that resurrected character comes onto the activation, the active area in your game mat, but you do not switch out any of the characters, okay? To any of the characters that have, like, say for example, let's go back real quick. Say there's a side switch, you put the character you bring onto your part of the field on top of the character that did side switch. Same with summon. You put the character you summoned put down onto the character that summoned it. Alright. Now for Necro Return, it's pretty much the same. Any zombified character from any player's discard that goes onto your side of the activation area, active area, you put onto the character in which has been Necro Returned. Okay. Same thing with Resurrection. Okay. So Resurrection, if you have any character that you just resurrected that has any of the effects I just talked about already, they retain that because they've been resurrected successfully. But still, you have to be wise in your decision to have your resurrection attack. Okay, so next, let's take a look at Infect. Now remember, I did say earlier this was important. So Infect is a capitalized B, capitalized R, for brown. Infect is actually pretty serious, okay? It's a little bit like poison, but more deadly, okay? Because even though if you infect any of your opponent's characters, or if your opponent infects one of your characters, turn by turn, the effect of infect will slowly deteriorate either one of your characters. Now, if your opponent's character or your character has been completely depleted of all health, then that's whenever the person that did the infecting pretty much gets that new infected character, which is pretty much like Necro Return, turn into a zombie. Okay, so next, I'd like to say about infect is if you're attacked with the infect attack, you gotta pay attention to the number in which the infect attack is on. Say for example, infect was on number 2 of your die roll. You rolled a 2 successfully, winning, and what you would have to do is every time you make an attack, it includes that number, no matter who attacks, pretty much. Same thing with poison. Every time there's attack, either you are dealt it or you sent it, you still are inflicted or inflict the infect effect to that character. Same thing with poison. Okay, so same thing, just like poison, you can only do 1 minus % on the HP in the pro version. Right. Next, let's go to what I think is the most dangerous out of all attacks that I thought of, would be instant kill. And I think instant kill is pretty much a bad thing. Seriously, it probably is a bad thing. All right. So for instant kill, what you do is you put down, I would say do GRA for gray, because of the next color is green, so that you don't get confused. Right? So for instant kill, what you have to do is you have to be successful in this attack to instantly defeat that character. But here's the thing. If you did an instant kill on that character, and they're either infected or poisoned, it's kind of different whenever it comes to the poisoning and the infection. See, with the poison, it doesn't really do much. It just kills the character. Pretty much puts them out of their misery if you do instant kill. But with infect, if any character was infected and their opponent did an instant kill, they go to the discard pile. But you gotta remember about the effect of infect. If infect was done like a few turns earlier and still losing health because of that effect, and you do instant kill a few turns later, then that character will go onto your side as a zombie, minus 2 points of the die. Okay, so for instant kill, it's pretty much the same way with the pro version. You kill, if they're infected, they go onto your side as a zombie. Okay, so let's take a look at Health Revive. I think this is pretty much the 4-leaf clover of this whole color collection. Right. So let's take a look at Health Revive, which is GRE. Capitalize GRE. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple. So if you do Health Revive, think about shield activation. It's a little bit like the same. If you do a Health Revive attack successfully, then here's what you do. You heal 25% damage. Now you pretty much do this until your HP is max, okay? And same thing will be for pro version, because for pro version it doesn't really do much difference if it's a normal game still. Alright, so next let's take a look at character switch. Now for character switch, it's actually quite nifty. Put a capital P for pink attack. Now for character switch, is almost as if you're seeing a tag battle. Almost as if you're seeing a tag battle, which I'll talk about in a later video. Okay, so for character switch, if you roll that die number and it's a successful attack, what you do is you take that character off the active area and switch it with any other character in only your standby area. Okay? Because the assists pile will probably be empty in most part of the game. So let's go ahead and keep that rule as to where whenever you roll a pink attack, which is character switch, then you'll pretty much be okay, because that attack takes your character off the active area and puts them into the standby area on your side of the field, or mat, however you want to put it. But you have to make sure you have a character in your active area, or else the effective character switch won't be successful. So let's say you only have down to one character and you don't have any characters in your standby pile, and you do character switch. Successful or no, you can't really do that effect. Now it will still kind of be like a physical projectile and a mental attack. It doesn't have much of an effect, it's just like a normal attack if you don't have any other character to switch out with. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little segment of explanation about the different colors of different attacks. You're probably wondering how many different attacks there are. Well, let's go ahead and actually count. There are actually a total of 14 different types of attacks. Now, I mentioned about the physical, projectile, and the mental at the start of this series because I thought, let's go ahead and start you up with something basic, like for beginners. But now that I'm showing you guys this, you're probably going to want to expand some character cards and be like, why didn't you show us this earlier? Please tell us. Well, it's because I wanted you guys to kind of get used to the game if you wanted to. But anyways, now you know a little bit about all the other different attacks. I'm so glad you, if you did watch this all the way through, I'm glad you did. Now, I'll try to make some characters that have some of these effects all around here, and nothing special per se, like say, instant kill for all attacks. No, don't do that, because that's still considered cheating. You have to have a character that has a good balance of not one, but multiple different colors, okay? Now say you have multiple projectile, that's okay. Multiple mental, that's okay. Multiple physical, that's okay. And same thing with all of these attacks, okay? You have to have it balanced with at least one or two copies of these colors. Because if you don't, then you're pretty much going to be cheating, okay? So that's pretty much a ground rule. Do not have all of your attacks be the same type of attack. That's rule number 1, okay? Even though whenever I already told you guys some different rules, but whenever it comes to making your attacks, that's rule number 1. Do not make more than 2 of the same type of attacks. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next part. See you later.